Cracking open the box of your Scout Jr., you will start by removing a foam block from the center and 2 foam pieces, protecting the arm and table during shipment. Set the bag of hardware goodies to the side and carefully pull the chassis out of the box. Remove the power cord and motor while being mindful of the pulley. Hidden under the last piece of foam, you will find the aluminum record platter that you can set to the side for now while we get ready for the final placement of the table. Getting things started the right way begins with making sure your Scout Jr. is making its way to a solid surface. In fact, now is a great time to grab a level and make sure we get this party started on a good note. Make sure you check all directions of your stand, table, or whatever the heck you decide to use for your Scout Jr. Just make sure that bubble is smack dab right in the middle. VPI recommends placing the Scout Jr. on a 1 to 3 inch thick maple shelf sitting on isolation feet. I happen to have a pretty solid audio rack, but I also like using a second shelf for better isolation. Bottom line, consider your options and do what works best for you. Grab the chassis with both hands and carefully place it with a cutout to your left. This is where the motor will eventually go. Carefully place the platter on the spindle while holding the platter steady and take note of today's date. Why? Because next year you might need to lubricate the platter bearing with 3 drops of 40-weight motor oil in the spindle hole. Connect the power cord to the motor and place it in the cutout of the chassis. Lift the back of the chassis over the power cord and feel free to plug everything in. Grabbing a tape measure or ruler, the motor should be placed approximately a 1/4 inch from the turntable chassis. Grab your belt from the bag of goodies and place it on the platter and pulley, and don't worry about if it's not lined up perfectly. It will fix itself as soon as we fire up the motor. Grab the level you were using before and let's see how the table is looking. Placing a level near the center of the platter as possible, spin the platter and adjust as needed using the Scout Jr.'s aluminum feet. If you find yourself turning the feet more than 2 to 3 rotations, take another look at the shelf to make sure the table that it sits on is actually level. Feel free to grab a set of shielded interconnect cables and plug them into the back of the table, folks. We're about ready to rock and roll. Now that you completely dominated setting up your Scout Jr., let's play some records. Feel free to remove the stylus guard by pressing the tab towards you and the guard will pop off without any force. Carefully swing the arm above the record, lower the lever to the downward position without feeling the need to stop as the arm goes down, and give yourself a pat on the back. You are playing your first record on your brand new Scout Jr. Now that we are up and running with playing standard 33s, how the heck do we play a 45? Glad you asked, because it couldn't get any easier. Simply move the belt from one pulley groove to the other and presto. Easy as that. Both the arm height and azimuth are already set up for you by the good guys at VPI. For those that want to make your own adjustments, the Scout Jr. has you covered. For VTA, you need to be able to carefully prop up the table to get underneath. All you're doing here is removing the first nut and ground wire while loosening up the second nut. Using an Allen wrench, you can now adjust VTA to your own preference. Rotating the screw clockwise will raise the back of the arm while counterclockwise lowers it. Checking and adjusting azimuth is just as easy as VTA. Grab yourself a coffee straw and looking straight at the car, you can get an idea if adjustments need to be made. Using an Allen wrench, adjust the azimuth by loosening the side screws on the arm tube and carefully rotating the arm. After making your adjustments and you are happy with how things look and sound, tighten up those screws on the side of the arm and you are good to go. And you thought this was going to be complicated. You know, playing a record is as peaceful as lighting a campfire. Setting up your turntable is not the part where you're lost in the woods, 25 miles away from base camp, fall down a cliff, break both your legs, get mauled by a bear, end up in a coma, and 6 months later, waking up to Aunt Linda's bad breath and a get well card with choo-choo trains on it. No, using VPI's common sense methods, you're going to be spinning wax in no time. If you do happen to have any other questions, you can jump onto vpiindustries.com, click on the link for forums, and many other people, myself included, would be happy to answer any other questions that you might have. Until then, enjoy your new turntable and enjoy your records.